everybody. Welcome to the Creative Revolution Show, where we talk about music, art, the lives of creative people, and throw in some plant-based nutrition. My name is Ron.
And my name is Sharine. We're here to inspire you. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1. What we're going to do today is talk a little bit about our own creative histories, and then we'll preview some of the guests that we've already invited to join us on future episodes. So, Ron, you want to get started talking a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, let's get started. So, as I said, my name is Ron. I'm a musician, multi-instrumentalist. Primarily, I play the guitar, but I also play ukulele, bass guitar, harmonica, keyboards, some drums, and I've been performing and recording and touring since 1970s. Additionally, these days I produce and engineer. I guess I've been doing that for about 30 years now. I have a home studio and record there. Done lots of session works. I don't know how many, multiple albums and CDs. I actually recorded some stuff on vinyl. More recently, in about, 2003, I completed study in college, and I received a degree in music therapy, and to this day I continue to maintain my board certification. And today I actually still enjoy continuing to teach and help people to become more creative persons. Yeah. Sharine?
All right, thank you. Oh, let's see. I sing and I write songs. I started singing at a very young age and also playing the flute. And I began writing songs when I moved to Los Angeles in the late 80s. It's one of my favorite things to do. I play guitar and I can play the keyboards and a little bit of drums and bass and the ukulele and noodle around with some hand percussion and things like that, just to keep things lively. I also do graphic design and video production. I like to play around in Photoshop a lot and in my new favorite editing software, which is On1 Photo Raw. I am a writer. In addition to writing songs, lyrics, and music, I write research-based articles. That was my degree in communication studies, helped me become a better writer and a better researcher. And I write books. I've got books of poetry and nonfiction, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail about those. So that's kind of a general overview of what I do. Oh, and I teach private music lessons too. So that's another really cool give back in my community. Okay, what's next?
How about we share with our listeners a bit about our music?
Yeah, we should tell you guys some stuff that we do.
Oh,
So the first major effort that Ron and I did together was our debut CD, Songs of Secret Devotion. We recorded it and released it in 1996. Ron's going to talk about the production and all the fun stuff there, but yeah, basically it was Ron and me and our friend Michael Duran on cello. So that was the.
What was the inspiration behind that music?
Well, we sort of made it a tribute to the mostly acoustic Led Zeppelin 3 album, partly because the music that Ron and I wrote and another songwriter partner of ours put together tells a story as you go along, but the music is very eclectic. One song doesn't sound the same from one to the next, like a lot of albums these days. So it was very similar to the music on Led Zeppelin 3. So that was our homage to that amazing album.
Yeah, so that primarily consisted of vocals by Sharine with flute, myself on guitar, and Michael Duran on the cello. So we were a trio called Sharine and the Hot Swirl Ensemble. That CD was recorded in Santa Monica, California at Tutton Bay Music, which is owned and operated by Guy Marshall. And it was a very interesting studio. It was actually in his apartment in Santa Monica. The bedroom was converted over into his studio, but it was fully equipped with, I think I don't remember if it was 16 or 24 track, but it was fully equipped with all the mics and everything. He did a fantastic job. But that was the studio, so we would just like, you know, go there in the evenings and book 3 or 4 hours a time. And sure enough, after a few weeks went by, or a month, maybe 2 months, and then we had the project was completed.
Yeah, I remember he called us the Shell People.
Yeah. Also on that album, we had a couple of additional musicians. That would be Sean Amos played harmonica, and his partner at the time, Amber, played the violin. Did he play anything else in that? I think he played harmonica on a couple of songs. Yeah. And then Guy Marshall added some of the percussion. He played, you know, various things, percussion there. But yeah, so that pretty much describes that CD, the Songs of Secret Devotion.
Yeah, it was a really amazing project. We had a great time, and it took us 11 months to record. We did 1 song a month. Anyway, the next project we did was called The Big One. And in this project, we put together a rock band. So Michael Dron had gone off to college and master's program. And we, you know, got together a bass player and a drummer, and Ron taught them how to play. Just kidding. They were great guys. We had a lot of fun with them. So this was on recording in 97 and 98, and we released the CD. It was a 7-song CD, really stunning stuff with like slide guitar, really fun project. So, and then soon after that, Ron went back to college to get his music therapy degree. And I was left on my own to my own devices. And so what did I do with the little home studio that Ron had set up for me in the shared apartment we had? I recorded a solo project with the help of my friend Jenny Shergold called Psych Emotion. It is a spoken word and music project where I recorded all of the music myself and did all the spoken word, played all the instruments, and produced it myself. And I did another project on a different home studio, different equipment altogether. It was called Midnight Butterfly, inspired by a butterfly that I saw at night while I was jogging in Santa Monica at midnight. So after that, we got a bunch of other projects after we moved here to Atascadero.
Yeah, so let's start with the Blips. And we'll show, you know, maybe a photo or picture on screen with that. So the Blips started as an alternative project to your standard music. We had stage names, we used computer technology, costumes. For instance, my name was Hieronymus Blipford, and this was
Bebe Blipstein.
And we used technology to change our voices to sound like Munchkins, and the project was very cool and creative, but it was kind of expensive to do and very timely to prepare all that stuff. So that lasted a couple of years, but we also made it a full-length feature movie, which Sharine wrote the screenplay for. We did all the camera work, editing, etc., and it was a full-length feature movie called The Blips Out of This World Adventure. And we did a CD, if you want to hold that one up. We did a Christmas CD with Christmas music, some original material, and very fun. It still gets played to this day. It's totally timeless. So that was the Blips. We also did a project called Euphoria Project, and that's how is it? U4EA. And that was a trio that we did with our friend Gentry Bronson. Mm-hmm. And he's a singer-songwriter that we had been in contact with for a while, and we combined our original material, some of his, some of ours, some cover material, and then we did a CD and a series of performances in the Central Coast here. I don't think we played outside of our local area.
We did. We played up in Petaluma.
Yeah, we played in Petaluma. Anyway, so we did Euphoria Project, another CD. And then after that, we formed a group called We Play for Cash, WP4$. Another like kick in the butt to the music industry that, yeah, we just said we're going to do this our way. and that's it. It's just our way or no way.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun too. So we all had stage names. I was Left Detroit and
Trixie Pixis. We
yeah.
had Phil Dirt.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to even talk about Minx, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so we played for cash. Started out 5 members and moved to 6. Then we had a couple of guests in there. Also made 2 CDs. The first CD
I just held that one up, but yeah.
is called Not For Sale by We Play For Cash. And then the second CD,
Annie Up, All In, Cash Out, Make It a Double.
the second CD has considerably a lot more original material on it, and we were definitely, you could see the signs of growth by that time. Eventually it imploded and it came to an end, but you know, we're still trying to keep the dream alive. A lot of this stuff you can actually find links to on our channel,
I'll put them
our
in the show
YouTube
notes.
channel, on our BlipsWerx channel.
Yep.
And you can see some video of that stuff. Also, a lot of this music is available on a lot of the streaming sources like iTunes and Spotify, Pandora, things like that. So you can always do a search for any of those.
Yep.
And listen to the music more in depth, or purchase if you like to. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Then
we got the brilliant idea, actually it was Ron's idea, to re-record the songs of Secret Devotion with our current musicians, which were Daniel and Bill on bass and drums, at the 20-year anniversary. So 2016, released in 2017, but 2016 version. And this artwork by Heidi Edelman, another super creative friend who maybe she'll be on the show.
We recreated it. We played all the tracks in the same order that they were, pretty much identical arrangements, but just a new sound with the musicians we had. But otherwise, we recreated exactly how we did before.
Yeah, and to bring things really current, we still perform as a duo, we perform as a trio and a quartet, sometimes even a larger band, depending on what musicians are hanging out in our living room and wanting to practice and do the stuff you need to do to perform well. And one of our longtime dreams came alive when we got a house gig a little over 3.5 years already ago at our dear friend LaDonna's restaurant, LaDonna White Ezel. She's the chef extraordinaire there. And we always wanted to have a place to play where they really just wanted us, not just any live music. And that's it's every week. Well, while we're in town, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And while we're mentioning LaDonna, we will talk about some of the guests that we're going to have here on in the future. On the future episodes of the Creative Revolution, we're going to have lots of people, maybe more than we're going to mention right now, but not necessarily in this order. But let's start with LaDonna. Let's
start with her. As I already mentioned, she's an amazing chef and owner of LaDonna's restaurant. She's culinary trained. She's just an amazing person.
We're also going to have Jack Nicholson. He's a former race car driver and builder. I think he still builds some race cars and works on engines and stuff like that. And recently picked up the guitar, so he's a musician as well.
Yeah, and then we're going to have Joseph Forden. He's a local young guitar player, bass player, multi-instrumentalist who has a band and they play locally. Really very super cool dude.
We also are inviting Paul Shelley, who lives down in Southern California in the Los Angeles County area. He's a blues guitar player and singer and leads a lot of workshops, and he's an instructor of many, many years, longtime friend. We played together in several groups, including the super eclectic Acoustic Electric, and he's married to a longtime friend of ours as well, Tammy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we're also going to have our friend Sherry Holzer, who's a fabulous winemaker in this area. She does consulting, and she works right now for Rava, which is a local winery that specializes in bubbles, which is Sherry's favorite.
We've also invited Nathan Spooner, who's a guitar player, singer-songwriter, does kind of country-ish, blues-ish, and he has been receiving some good airplay around the country, and including Alaska.
Yeah. And for more food fun, our friend Carrie Border is an amazing homemaker. She makes delicious bread. Yum.
And then we're also inviting Daniel's Woodlands. He makes wood sculptures out of with chainsaws, carves them out of tree trunks and stuff. Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more. Not necessarily in this order, but we got lots of cool people coming on the show.
It's going to be a big wave. Get
future
ready.
episodes.
Yeah, so more on LaDonna. She convinced Ron and I in early 2021, after she ate a vegan meal at our home. She said, you need to make this into a business. So we started a food-based business based around plant-based whole food. We call it Va Vegan. That's fun, huh? So what we do is we prepare entrees and other side dishes and things for people that they like, and our customers, and they come to the door and pick them up, or we deliver them. And we also do cooking classes. So we bring people into our home kitchen and get them hands-on making the food, eating the food while we're doing all that, and sharing nutritional tips and tips for saving time and money along the way. And then after that's all done, I have a already prepared meal, so we all sit down at the table and just chow down. So that's super fun. Yeah, and actually it was Ron that gave us together the inspiration for going whole food plant-based.
Anyway, so the initial inspiration for Va Vegan came from Dr. Joel Furman. He's a world-renowned nutritarian specialist, talks about nutrition, multiple books, podcasts, a guest speaker in a lot of places. And primarily it was this book called Eat to Live that we read, and basically when we got towards the end of it, I think we followed the directions to the T, but that led us to that book was the basic inspiration to lead us in that path down to a plant-based diet and the Va Vegan entity, the Va Vegan business that we started. And speaking of books,
so I've done a lot of writing in my life. As I mentioned, I wrote 3 books of poetry and self-published them. And then my sister kind of inspired this nonfiction book that I wrote and published in 2011 called Cravings, Ravings, and Misbehavings. Here it is. Tales of how one good girl can do a whole lot of bad things and still turn out okay. It did okay, right? So that was fun, and it's a great book. And then right around that time, I also got inspired by all these photographs I was taking everywhere. We would go on little day trips and long trips, and so I decided to make a extended epic photo journal called Gratitude 365 Photo Journal. This is just a picture of the cover because right now it's only in digital format, but you can find it. And essentially it's 365 because there are 365 photos. Each of them is highly stylized in my photo style, my editing style, and I wrote a narrative to talk about each of the images. So it's a massive project that took me 11 years, and I finally published it December 2021. So that's pretty much the rundown of my books.
and we want to add that my book is going to be called Axe to Grind, people.
Oh, thanks everybody for being part of the Creative Revolution. This is a season 1, episode 1. I hope you enjoyed your time with Ron and me today. Meanwhile, he's gathering up a really special guest who wanted to come and introduce herself in her very silent but beautiful way. She was just grooming. This is Nilla.
Come on.
She's part of the...
Smile for the camera.
She's part of the show too.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us on this first episode of the Creative Revolution Show. Much more to come, and live a creative life. Live the best life you can. Do it today. Don't put it off.
Don't put it off. It's today.
See ya.